Good morning, everyone. Here we are. It is, of course, the Fruit Nut News on, of course, the 14th today, ladies and gentlemen, 14th. Talk about kicking off. Yeah, loads and loads of stuff going on. I'm having a job keeping up, and unfortunately, I would imagine that you are too as well. So I'll try and fill you in on the details. So, of course, Saturday the 14th today, 14th of the March, 2026. Tomorrow, of course, is the Ides of March. 15th is the Ides of March, depending on, of course, what calendar you're on. So it's going to be relatively interesting to see once again what happens tomorrow. But anyway, loads and loads of stuff going on, wars going on, threatens of wars, this, that and the other. Oh, it's just unbelievable. So let's have a quick hello to everybody then this morning. Sheila Douglas is first in, and second Sue Allen third. Maria Tress is in, Diane Williamson, Looney Lena, Graham's in, Christina, Sharon Young, Island's in, Gary's in, Ann Taylor's in, Valerie's in, Belinda's in, and Michael Bennett's in. Okay, so 17 people. Good. So what have we got for you today? Well, it seems as though it's just come to light about the connection of hotels within the trafficking industry. So we're talking about child trafficking, women trafficking, people trafficking, etc., etc. So it seems as though that the major hotel chains, we're talking about Marriott hotels and all that, and this has all come to light in America. So it was a bit of a light bulb moment for me. So it's now been proven that hotels have played a major part in human trafficking, all around the world. Okay. So apparently victims are now suing the hotels because they willingly took part in, of course, the operation of trafficking, in general, whether or not that was children or women or men, we're not really sure. But anyway, so this kind of makes sense to me. So I wanted to. We told you it was big. We told you it was worldwide. I suppose naively, I didn't realise how actually big it is, but it's absolutely massive. So for a moment, let's just think about people in America are now suing the big hotel chains. Now, those big hotel chains operate in the UK as well. Okay. Now, the hospitality industry is not at its finest. Okay, with everything that's going on, and so it makes sense to me that the major UK hotel chains are generating money through the illegal immigration scam. Okay, in order to obviously generate funds to pay for this shit that's coming down the line. Now, let's look at just one example. One of the big hotels in London on Canary Wharf was very recently shut down to the general public, and it was housing illegal immigrants. There was probably about a handful of them. There weren't many of them. Anyway, those illegal immigrants were moved from somewhere in the country, and they were moved to the old Isle of Dogs or Canary Wharf, whatever you want to call it. And the hotel had 400 odd bedrooms. Okay, so let's just, for instance, say that there were 50 migrants there. 50 migrants, 400 hotel rooms. And it seems as though that the British government paid for all of those 400 rooms to the hotel chain, even though they weren't occupied, okay? in order to secure the hotel. So this doesn't like add up to me. Okay, it doesn't add up to me. Okay, because it just seems a bit weird that a government would. But you see, when you sit back at 40,000 feet, you actually think, well, that's actually a very clever plan. It's a very clever plan to generate money. The question is, who pays these fees? Well, these fees, of course, are paid out of taxpayers' money. They're paid out of fuel duty. They're paid out of not repairing the potholes. They're paid out of, destroying education, etc., etc. And that's how it works. So this is just one massive money laundering scam. And of course, the migrants are of course the illegal migrants, immigrants are of course the perfect disguise to launder the money. Okay. Now, I don't know. I can't remember the figures offhand for the Canary Wharf Hotel, but we're looking at a lot of money per night. Okay, to keep that hotel entirely for immigrants. Okay, and of course, there's been other examples of this all around the country. So let's also now start to think about, let's also start to think about a lot of the hotel brands, a lot of the hotel brands. Can you remember during COVID, they basically insisted that everybody paid by credit card or debit card? Can you remember that? This was a big push, of course, to banish cash. Now, they used the excuse that cash was carrying the germs, which is fucking impossible, because if you've got any brains about you, you know that viruses don't spread like that. Okay, so that was the excuse that they used. Okay, and they used this excuse in all kinds of other areas. So supermarkets, shops, and we're talking more of the larger corporate shops that they did. So this was a deliberate move, of course, to get rid of cash. Massive fail because it hasn't worked. But anyway, that's another story. So the hotels that are housing the illegal immigrants are actually committing a crime. They are aiding and abetting criminal activity. It's a criminal act to come to the UK as an illegal immigrant. Okay, that's a criminal act. So if you are harbouring criminals, that means that you are aiding and abetting a criminal activity. So all of these, so the police who are also assisting this situation are also aiding and abetting the situation. Do I think the police is going to collapse? Yes, I do. Do I think that the hotel situation is going to collapse? Yes, I do. Do I think there's some massive changes coming in the UK judicial system and also the Bar Association, judges, lawyers, etc., etc.? Yes, I do. Do I think a lot of people are going to get arrested? Yes, I do. Okay? They just don't know it yet. A lot of people are still very blasé about continuing to commit this criminal activity, thinking that they are going to get away with it. Now, as we have seen from Jeffrey Epstein and Mandelson, that criminal activity that took place many years ago is now catching up with them both. But more importantly, okay, the activity is being put in the public domain. Now, would this have happened 10 years ago, 20 years ago? No. And the reason is because of the technology. This is one of the main reasons why the cabal, okay, is finished. Now, remember that the deep state made these things in order to, in order to control the population. Unfortunately, on the backside of that, remember there's always two sides to a story. On the backside of that, information is now passed around the world at lightning speed. Lightning speed. Okay? So very, very interesting that that has happened. Now, going back to the hotels and the removal of cash, even today, some hotel chains will not accept cash. And what that means is that they are still complicit, or they are one of the main players in that particular thing. One of the main ones, of course, is the Lenny Henry hotel chain. You know the one I mean? Is it Sleep Easy, have a fucking big pillar or something like that? I don't know, I can't remember. But they are still running a credit card only scam. Even though everything's finished, they're still running it. Plexiglass. If you go anywhere and you still see plexiglass up, you can be assured that those people are deep state institutions. So when you think about it, okay, the NHS, all your local councils, they're all still running plexiglass. I mean, the NHS is the worst one because simply they are still running the juice program, okay? And it's been massively proven that the juice is a very dangerous thing. And then, of course, not only that, but we get on to Ozempic, which is the fat jab scandal. It's been proven that fat jabs are very dangerous, and they have quite a lot of dangerous side effects. And yet, of course, here we have, the mainstream media and the NHS pushing the fat jabs. But of course, these nefarious organisations still continue to have to try and make money, even though the system is collapsing around them. And so the COVID situation of 6 years ago still has its tentacles in, of course, the sort of mainstream organisations. So you can tell that these these things are happening. And I wanted to bring you back to when Donald Trump first came to power. And do you know what, Jason? I've just quickly glanced along that path. You must be psychic because I'm just about to talk about this. So when Donald Trump first came to power, there was an executive order, and it's 13808. And that executive order was signed in response to crimes against humanity. Crimes against humanity. Now, forget the fact that, that twats like Tony Blair and that took out the death by hanging with the Treason Act. That's all bullshit, right? So crimes against humanity, Executive Order 13808 was brought into play by Donald Trump, despite what you want to think about him, is entirely up to you. I'm not really here to do that. But the executive orders was strictly spoken about crimes against humanity. Crimes against humanity are trafficking, drug trafficking, organ trafficking, adrenochrome, everything that you can think of. Right? They were the executive orders. It was the first time in history that a sitting president had actually stood up and actually said this is what we're going to do. We're going to go against the drug cartels. We're going to go against all these people. And anybody that is not for that, okay, has to be complicit. They have to be involved in the trafficking. Now, it was the Mexican, I think it was the Mexican Prime Minister. What was her name? Mexican Prime Minister, can't remember her name. She has refused to take action against the cartels in her country. Now that tells me that she is basically she's either run by the cartels, she's either compromised by the cartels, or she's being blackmailed in some way, shape, or form. So it just shows you the level of these people. So if you've got any, I mean, let's just quickly look at British MPs. There was a vote a few months ago now by British MPs in regards to the rape gang inquiry. Okay, there's only one person at the moment that is looking at the rape gang inquiries, and that is Rupert Lowe. Okay, he's the only one. Everybody else, okay, there's 600 and some MPs, okay. I think it was about 75 or 80 of them voted for a rape gang inquiry. The rest of the fuckers, right, they voted against a rape. Now, I don't know about you, but as a human being, as a man particularly, right, I would never, ever, ever vote against a rape gang inquiry, knowing that rape gangs were working. It's also clear now that Sadiq Khan, okay, knew about the rape gangs. That's all come up in confidential paperwork. So for these people to say that they didn't know is an absolute load of bollocks. And of course, that brings us to the Crown Princess of Norway. Now, she's claiming now, she's on the Epstein list. She's been there somewhere in the region of 1,000 times, okay? And she's now claiming that she made a mistake over Jeffrey Epstein. Listen, love, you didn't make a mistake. You fucking knew who Jeffrey Epstein was. You knew what he was doing, okay? But you continued to do it. And the reason that you did that is because you thought you were going to get away with it. Now, of course, it turns out that you're not going to get away with it. You're now claiming that you didn't know. I mean, this is the same as with Keir Starmer over Mandelson. Oh, well, I didn't know. Yes, you fucking did. It's been proven that you knew. It's been proven that you knew all along. You knew years ago, right? And yet here you are trying to gaslight the British public into believing. Hey? Oh, mate, it's unbelievable. I got my figures slightly wrong. 357 voted against it. So I was a little bit out there, but that's really not the point. The majority of the people in Parliament voted against a rape gang inquiry. It just tells you what these people are. And then, of course, let's start to talk about Iran. Now, Iran's going on at the moment. I did say a couple of dates ago that I think that Russia will come in, because I was thinking about how the American deep state and how the British deep state are going to be taken out. Okay, and I reckon there's going to be some form. We know that we've got galactic help going on. We know that for a fact. We know that UFOs and all that shit, they're all real. It's all just got to come out. Oh, incidentally, we've got a film coming out. There's a few films actually that are quite interesting, but one of them is a film called Disclosure. I think that's out in July 26. I think it is June or July 26. Anyway. That's basically the disclosure of, alien or, other entities, so to speak, coming into the minds of the public. So that's a very interesting one. But anyway, going back to Iran, we've got all kinds of toing and froing going on in Iran. Trump said this, fucking the Ayatollah said that. Israel's done this, fucking they've done that, blah, blah, blah. So it's a bit difficult. But, of course, what's clear now is that clearly Starmer refused Donald Trump, okay? Some might say that's a good thing. Some might say that's a bad thing. But what it proves is it actually proves that the British colonials, okay, have actually lost control of the narrative, and they are now not in charge. Now, of course, the British, the Israelis, etc., have all been in control for a very, very long time. Okay. They've been doing the looking glass. They've been doing all that shit. They've been planning everything and doing everything for decades. And it's all been done very secretly, by the way. So nobody really knew, what was going on. But now it's completely different. Now we're all, it's people like myself and all you guys, and we're all fucking doing this thing where we're going, well, hold on a minute, hold on. Let's just have a look at that again. Let's see, let's 40,000 feet. Let's see what happens, right? Now, that's what's happening now with the social media. Hence the reason why they're trying to shut it down. Now, of course, the special relationship with America, of course, is gone. And of course, what this means is that the powers that be, the white hats or the pink hats or whoever's fucking running it, whatever you want to call it, they basically, it's clear that Starmer and the British establishment, so to speak, are clearly out of the loop. So they are not being given any information in regards to what's happening in the war, so to speak. Now, which means that, of course, they're not getting a heads up. They're not getting any heads up. They're not getting any intel on what's going on. So they've lost control. They've lost that special relationship. And you can see that Keir Starmer is basically flying in the dark. And the British and the people that are running that as well above him, one of that guy, is that guy Mac Sweeney, his name is, he's one of them. They're clearly running in the dark and they don't know what to fucking do. So there's a lot of panic going on in the echelons of upper British UK colonial rule. We also see that panic in the royals, but I'll come to that in a minute. But so, I mean, even the EU have not got a clue what's going on. They've not got a clue what's going on. Now, if you paid attention to what Donald Trump did, okay, Donald Trump basically obviously bombed Iran. The Strait of Hormuz was shut down. But then what Donald Trump did was an interesting move. He opened up he opened up the sanctions on Russia, so that Russia could continue to basically trade oil. Now, not only was this a strategic move, but what it did, it shut down the bullshit from the British, because of course, they of course clearly want this war to go ahead with the Israelis. But of course, if the oil continues to keep flowing, okay, fucking Strait of Hormuz is gone. We don't need that oil. We don't need the oil. Okay, and let's not forget, right, that Iran, okay, is more than likely one of those countries that is being used as a great money laundering tool. Now, I want to tell you, to prove this, let's just go back to Barack Obama. Barack Obama, of course, as you well know, gave Iran 71 billion in cash. That was just on one fucking pallet. Never mind anything else that's been sent there over the years. So Iran was like a terrorist organization, but it was also used to money launder shit as well. Okay, now from a strategic point of view, okay, Russia will probably more than likely put its arms around Iran, okay, obviously under the guise of of creating peace, okay, with the Americans to move forward, and the Israelis. But then, okay, Iran's also bombing targets in Dubai and other places. So there is talk, and I don't know how true this is, there is talk that Benji Netanyahu is already dead. There's a video where he has 6 fingers on his hand, which is basically like, that's AI generated. So if that's true, and Benjamin Netanyahu, has gone, whatever, well, that's quite an interesting technical move, so to speak. So we shall just have to wait and see on that one. Now, of course, let's just look at, okay, let's just look at the Iran and the deep state money laundering, okay. So we've got Ukraine money laundering. I mean, we haven't heard anything from Ukraine for like a good 3 or 4 days now. Everything's focused on this Iran thing. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Now, Andrew, you probably don't realise how important Andrew is to all of this. But Andrew, if you remember, was an envoy. He was a Middle Eastern envoy for Britain back in the day. He was supposed to go there and do trade and shit and all that. But anyway, he probably just went out there shagging anything that he could see. But anyway, there was a meeting of very, very influential people. And there was quite a few people that were shocked by what he actually said. Now, remember that often these people that are hiding in plain sight, you don't actually know who they are until they say something out of line and you can pick up on it. Now, during this meeting, one of the American people noticed or heard Andrew. Andrew told everybody at this meeting that they all had to play the game. Now, what he meant was you have to play the British game, the British deep state, Israeli deep state game. So, and we have to win. This is Andrew, by the way. Okay, this is not Mandelson. This is Andrew. Royalty were telling people that they had to play the game. The game, of course, is the colonial rule, the colonial game. And of course, the colonial game was 2030, locked up, everybody's locked down, etc., etc. Of course, it's all failed because of the mobile phone. So, if you now notice, the special relationship with Starmer has been destroyed. If you notice as well, Andrew and both Mandelson have both been arrested. Okay, so just bear that in mind. It's clear that Starmer covered up the Mandelson situation. And so once again, we have the destruction in plain sight of the Labour government. Now, the Conservatives have already destroyed themselves. The Labour have already destroyed themselves in spectacular style over the last, few months. So the old guard or the old state is basically, is basically just collapsing. I mean, even in the mainstream media this morning, the Mirror, for example, Andy Mandy and the paedophile. That was the headline. Andy Mandy and the paedophile. Okay, and that media pressure is being put on by, of course, people like myself with one of these, and we're now forcing them through our broadcasting to basically, cover these topics, because what's happening is the mainstream media are becoming very, very outdated, and they are becoming very, very irrelevant, and they're losing vast amounts of money, not only in advertising, but in programming and all kinds of stuff. But they're losing vast amounts of influence. And that's why they want to shut down social media, because they don't want people talking about this stuff. They don't want people talking about, the rape gangs. They don't want people talking about the migrants and the abuse of the hotels. They don't want people talking about the fact that migrants are coming here that are mentally unstable. I mean, forget all this bollocks about, they've got a different culture. That's all bollocks. These people are being turfed out of prisons all across the world, and because they don't want to look after them. They're coming here, right? Because they're running out of money. Okay, and it's clear that it's clear that Britain is just a dumping ground for misfits and wannabe gangsters, and it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And the best part about it is, right? The best part about it, none of the British establishment want to do anything about it, because what they think, you see, they think that they're going to get away with this. They think that it's all going to be hunky dory. But here's the question, right? Let's imagine for a second, all of a sudden, right, Britain becomes a third world country, right? What do you think is going to happen to all of the MPs? What do you think is going to happen to all of the, forget the people for a minute. What do you think is going to happen to all the people in power? What do you think is going to happen to the police and to the judicial system? It's all going to collapse, okay? Because it'll just collapse. And what amazes me about it is that these MPs think that they're going to be okay. But no, they're not. What they don't realise is there'll be people knocking on Keir Starmer's door. There'll be people, it will become a lawless regime. No other way to describe it. Anyway, listen, ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand that this is a worldwide sting operation. It is a massive, way beyond anything that, you know, anybody could even imagine in their wildest dreams. And seriously, you need to prepare yourself for it. And I don't mean that lightly. What I mean is, or even unpositively, so to speak. What I mean is that you need to be prepared for all these things changing. You know, when we talk about change, people want change and this, that, and the other, but so many people are shit scared of changing. That's why the world is in such a fucking state. I mean, it's probably why the world is so scared of what's happening at the moment, because they don't see the future. They can't see in front. You know, I've been saying to everybody that you know, it's all going to collapse. I've been saying to everybody that, you know, your judicial system is going to go. Your police are going to go. We're probably going to have people called peace officers, right? Or you know, peace constables. They'll be there. You know, forget all your speeding and all your fucking bullshit and all that. You know, parking fines and fucking. What's the latest one? Clean air zone. All that bollocks. That's all going to go. So it's all going to change. It's all going to change. And so, you know, we need to be, you know, we need to be mentally and ready for those changes when they come. And, you know, and we need to embrace it. You know, we need to embrace common law, you know, do no harm. As long as you do no harm, then everything's hunky-dory. I mean, you know, you can't go around beating people up just for the crack, right? So, you know, common law should prevail, comes back, 1776. It doesn't literally go back to 1776, but what it means is that it goes back to the original common law principles. You know what I mean? You know, like, you know, paying all this money out all the time. You know, if you like driving licenses and passports and you know, and I mean, I'm all for people taking a car test. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for people. I'm all for that. But you know, to have to pay for all that on top of all the taxes and that we pay, fucking get rid of that. You know, get rid of this Federal Reserve bullshit and let's have some proper money rolling into the system. Anyway, listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get myself off. Have a great day. We've got it's a little bit windy in the northeast of England today. It's not as bad as what it has been for the last 2 days. It was blowing a hoolie for the last 2 days. Anyway, it's calmed itself down a bit now. We've got blue skies and we've got fluffy clouds. And the best part of it, no fucking chemtrails. Mind you, we do live in a country called God's country. The northeast of England, where I live, is known as God's country. And you know, if ever you do get the chance to come up to Yorkshire, whether or not that is you know, South Yorkshire or East Yorkshire or West Yorkshire or North Yorkshire, it is a lovely place. A lovely place. Anyway, listen. Finally, just before I go, blackout in Dubai. No information coming out in Dubai. What's happening? Something's happening in Dubai, but I'm not sure what it is. Love you loads. Take care.